The Originals is this great spin-off from the Vampire Diaries which Julie Plec put together. It's the story of the Mikaelson siblings, who are OG vampires, and their happenings with all the supernatural drama that's always occurring down there in New Orleans. The Mikaelsons are a hybrid of werewolf and vampire. They return to settle in New Orleans, and the series explores the following drama. This video will explore the Evolved Werewolves and compare their powers with other vampires. Now, before we go into the video, we do have a small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's a small click for you, but for us, it means an awful lot. Thank you very much. Now let's begin. Who are the Evolved Werewolves? Evolved werewolves, aka wolf-blooded, are a special subspecies. Unlike their normal counterparts, which can only transform into wolves at a full moon and are controlled by the lunar cycle, evolved werewolves can shift at will. This makes them powerful regardless of their situation. The evolved werewolves belong to the Crescent Wolf Pack. They've gotten their abilities through the unification ceremony. The unification ceremony is the marriage between alphas of two different packs by a shaman. This ceremony allows the packs of both alphas to share each other's abilities. The Crescent Wolf Pack was cursed to remain in the wolf form for the whole time, except for some time on the full moon night. The curse was put on the pack by the witch, Celeste Dubois. But after many efforts of Haley Marshall, a hybrid born of both werewolf and vampire blood, the curse is ultimately lifted. The evolved werewolves have enhanced abilities like super senses, extra agility, and transformation whenever they please, and most useful of all, they can access any of their powers whenever they require, like they partially developed during fights. By partially, I mean they grew claws and fangs and changed their eyes during the encounters. Evolved werewolves, with their remarkable ability to shift at will and exceptional physical strength, are a challenge for the vampires. Even though vampires have immortality, superhuman strength, and a whole range of supernatural abilities from mind control and incredible speed, evolved werewolves compete just fine with many of those powers. Known evolved werewolves. Jackson Kenner. Jack Kenner was a prominent recurring character in the originals. He first appeared in his wolf form in the 3rd episode, with his human form debuting in the 13th episode of the 1st season. Jackson was an evolved werewolf, alpha, and member of the Crescent Wolf Pack, and the husband of Haley Marshall Kenner. In Season 1, Jackson was part of the Crescent Werewolves cursed to stay in their wolf forms, except on full moon. He became Haley's protector and helped break the curse imposed by the witch, Celeste Dubois. After the curse was lifted, Jackson served as alpha to the Crescents and supported Haley's transition into pack life. Season 2 saw Jackson aiding Haley in uniting the werewolf clans under the Mikaelson leadership. They performed the unification ceremony where Haley shared her hybrid control with the pack. Jackson married Haley, becoming an evolved werewolf alongside the Crescent Wolf clan. Later in Season 2, Jackson and the Crescents are cursed again by the witch, Dahlia, trapping them in wolf form except for on the full moon. In Season 3, Jackson works with Haley and the Mikaelson family for their safety in New Orleans. Despite his complex relationship with Haley, he proved his love and dedication to her. In A Ghost Along the Mississippi, Jackson is captured and executed by Tristan de Martel as part of a revenge scheme. His death affected Haley deeply and the rest of the pack too. Jackson was a member of the Kenner family linked with the Crescent Wolf Pack. Jackson arranged his marriage to Haley to bridge the divide between the Kenner and Labonaire families within the pack. This conflict escalated when Haley's parents were killed by Jackson's grandfather, leading to Haley's adoption and separation from the pack. Growing up, Jackson faced challenges as a werewolf, triggered by killing a human and activating his Crescent curse. He later became Alpha, focused on protecting his people. Jackson met Haley and helped protect her and her unborn child from threats. Jackson played a crucial role in breaking the Crescent curse alongside Haley, leading to their reunion as a clan. He worked with Haley to form alliances and consolidate power for the werewolf community in New Orleans. As a character, Jackson was headstrong, protective, and a natural leader. He cared deeply for his family, often putting their needs above his own. Physically, Jackson was a male werewolf with olive skin, brown eyes, and dark curly hair. In his wolf form, he had distinctive white and black fur with glowing yellow eyes. Jackson possessed the powers of an evolved werewolf along with the associated weaknesses. His most significant relationship was with Haley, whom he married and deeply cared for. He supported her in leadership and protection, expressing his love and dedication to her until his tragic demise at the hands of Tristan de Martel. Haley avenges his death, highlighting the impact Jackson had on her life and the wolf pack as a whole. Jackson Kenner was a pivotal character in the originals, known for his loyalty, leadership, and love for Haley. His storyline was marked by struggles, alliances, and ultimately sacrifice, leaving a lasting impact on the show and its characters.
Oh, you're getting faster.
Maybe you're just getting slower, huh?
Aiden. Aiden L was a character in the originals who first appeared in the second season. He was an evolved werewolf who initially worked with Esther and Finn Mikaelson. Aiden later switched sides, joining Haley Marshall, Jackson Kenner and Marcel Gerard. He became the boyfriend of Joshua Rosa. Aiden was killed later by Dahlia near the end of the season to frame Nicholas Mikaelson. He was a member of the Crescent Wolf Pack. Little is known about his early life, but he came out as gay to Jackson when he was 17. Aiden and his friends, Oliver and Jackson, were close. He was involved in a plan to save werewolf teens from being forced to trigger their curses by killing humans. Aiden collaborated with Cammy, Haley, Marcel and Josh to trap Finn Mikaelson. He continued to support Haley and Jackson's plan to restore the pack's unity. Aiden later sought help from Klaus to deal with Finn. Aiden and his allies rescued Marcel and Josh from Finn's captivity. Despite facing challenges from Finn and Mikael, Aiden remained loyal to his friends. Aiden trained with Jackson and others in the bayou. He expressed concerns about Jackson's leadership and his safety, prompting him to consider leaving New Orleans with Josh. Aiden and Josh shared a loving relationship, with Aiden expressing his deep feelings for Josh. Aiden's loyalty to his pack and his love for Josh were key aspects of his personality. He worked with Haley and Josh to plan an escape from New Orleans to protect themselves. Unfortunately, Aiden was tricked and killed by Dahlia as part of a plan to discord the Mikaelsons. Jackson honoured Aiden with a proper funeral and Josh bid farewell to his beloved boyfriend. In the afterlife, Aiden and Josh reunited and set off together, finding peace at last. Aiden was known for his caring nature towards his pack and his bravery in the face of danger. He was also portrayed as a loving and dedicated partner to Josh. Aiden possessed all the standard powers and abilities of a werewolf, including the ability to turn at will as an evolved werewolf. Kurt. One of the most illustrious evolved werewolves is Kurt. He first shows up in the originals. Kurt's story takes off from a point in the bayou where he and several other wolves help Jackson, Haley and Hope evade danger. His fierce loyalty takes him from drawing his bow, determined to shoot Klaus, who is after a vial of Hope's blood for some duplicitous scheme. Kurt's loyalty to the pack is manifested in many respects. This includes the fact that he's seen at Aiden's funeral fighting back tears. Watching the flaming body of Aiden float away is a quintessentially poignant moment, and it shows how deeply connected the members of the pack were. After that, Kurt and the wolves keep running in the bayou with Hope, Haley and Jackson in tow. When Haley expresses doubts about taking the rest of the pack for their safety, Kurt and his wolves kneel before her yet again, affirming their loyalty and respect for the young woman. The long journey ends at the river crossing, where Kurt picks them up in a white truck and encourages them to hurry to get in so that they can get away. Next, they land at the junkyard where Klaus confronts them, and they are involved in quite a battle, until Dahlia uses the Crescent Curse to force the pack to settle into their full wolf form. Kurt's loyalty to Jackson is unmovable, as he would go to battle with Jackson solely by Jackson's word. But even mighty Kurt cannot stand against the Crescent's curse, which turns him into a big strong wolf with great strength, considerable agility, and astonishing regenerative capabilities. Mary Dumas. Mary Dumas was an evolved werewolf who was also Jackson Kenner's maternal grandmother and an elder of the Crescent Wolf clan. She was married to Richard Xavier Dumas and part of the Kenner family. In early history, not much is known about her life. Throughout the original season 2, Mary was introduced in a Brotherhood of the Damned, where she officiated Jackson and Haley's wedding as part of a unification ceremony for the Crescent Pack. She revealed the truth about her parents' murderer, Richard Xavier Dumas, to Jackson, prompting a conflict with Klaus Mikaelson. In Sanctuary, she refused to disclose Haley's whereabouts to Klaus, showcasing her loyalty to her family. She later tended to Jackson's wounds after a violent encounter with Klaus. In The Devil is Damned, Mary performed a ritual with the other alphas who sought to join the Crescent Pack. However, their ceremony was interrupted by Marcel Gerard's vampires. In I Love You Goodbye, Mary presided over Haley and Jackson's wedding, marking the unification of their bloodlines. The pack fully embraced Haley's hybrid nature and gained control of their werewolf abilities. In Fire with Fire, Mary, Haley, Jackson and Hope escaped New Orleans to evade the threat of the witch Dahlia. Mary used her knowledge of herbal rituals to detect magical interference. In Season 3, You Hung the Moon, a spell cast by Davina Clare lifted the Crescent Curse on Haley and the pack, presumably returning Mary to her human form. In The Other Girl in New Orleans, Mary advises Haley about balancing her loyalty to the Mikaelsons and Jackson, cautioning her about interfering in dangerous situations. In Season 4 of Gather Up the Killers, Mary provided Haley with information about the last remaining werewolf bloodline and comforts Hope after a nightmare. In I hear you knocking, Mary learned about the Hollow and handed Haley her late husband's journal for insight into his final years. In terms of her personality, Mary was a strong and no-nonsense werewolf elder who prioritized her pack's safety. She harbored a distrust of vampires but accepted Haley's hybrid nature. In terms of powers and abilities, as an evolved werewolf and an elder, Mary possessed standard werewolf abilities. She was knowledgeable in pack rituals and herbal practices to detect magic. The weaknesses of Mary were thus, she had a typical weakness of an evolved werewolf. Mary appeared in various episodes throughout season 2 to 4 of the originals, playing a significant role in the storyline. And for her name, Mary is a Hebrew name, meaning bitterness or beloved lady, while Dumas is of French origin, signifying somebody who lives in isolation in the countryside. How powerful are they? Evolved werewolves possess an incredible range of powers and capabilities, making them formidable entities within the supernatural world. Here are some of the most interesting amongst them. 1. Healing powers. These evolved werewolves have an amazing healing capacity, giving them the ability to quickly recover from injuries like gunshot wounds, stab wounds, and fractured bones. This trait also makes them immune to most human diseases and disorders like colds, cancer, or epilepsy. A werewolf will heal from a chest stab wound in minutes if no vital organs are severely damaged. They heal fast for survival when they encounter other supernatural creatures. 2. Super senses. Evolved werewolves have extremely enhanced eyesight and olfactory powers with superlative hearing. Their sensibility is very sharp in smell, allowing them to chase their prey through long miles, and they can even detect the presence of other supernatural beings. Their supervision will have them viewing things clearly under the dimmest light, but their acute hearing makes them hear things that humans can't. A werewolf can hear a heartbeat from some yards, so nobody can catch them unaware. 3. Lycanthrope enhancement. This refers to the overall physical enhancements that come with being a werewolf. Evolved werewolves have superhuman strength, speed, agility, and reflexes. They can lift heavy objects, run faster than most humans, and perform acrobatic feats with ease. Their enhanced reflexes allow them to dodge bullets and catch projectiles mid-air. 4. Control over transformations. Evolved werewolves can control when they transform, choosing to be either in their human or wolf form. They can transform partially, allowing them just to enhance specific parts like their claws, their fangs, or their glowing eyes. This is particularly handy in a fight because they can change quickly to advantage of their position. A werewolf could use claws in their hands to pull themselves up on the wall, or by using fangs, frighten an opponent. 5. Werewolf venom. The intense pains of a transformed werewolf hold poison that is deadly to vampires. This therefore poses severe threats that lead to death if not treated. This poison has made the werewolves appear on the list of fierce enemies to the vampires, for one bite will render them powerless or dead. If a vampire is bitten by a werewolf, he feels pain and weak, putting himself in a vulnerable position for further attacks. 6. Full moon. It's the time when the power and the ability of the werewolves are multiplied. At this time, their strength, speed, and aggression go to a peak value that makes them highly dangerous. However, the full moon also heightens their emotions, and it can make them lose control. Newly transformed werewolves are trained not to succumb to the effect of the moon and not to harm innocent people. A werewolf under a full moon may easily overpower several opponents, but might not be able to restrain their rage. 7. Immunity to silver. Unlike regular werewolves or vampires, evolved werewolves have an immunity to silver, an element that typically would be considered a weakness in the case of werewolves. This immune system makes them more robust when battling humans who are armed with silver. Are they more powerful than vampires? The debate as to which of the werewolves or vampires is the more powerful in the originals universe has been discussed by many fans. In understanding the power dynamics of werewolves and vampires, it's important to first define what power is in the original. Power can be strength, velocity, resilience, magical powers, or even influence and control over other people, and both species have specific powers in different ways. Werewolves, for example, have supernatural speed, but it's the agility that makes them favor durability over actual quickness. They seem to just flow through their environment when they're in wolf form, and so are rather hard to hit. A post on Reddit once said that while vampires may be faster on paper, the werewolves' agility and reflexes make them more credible. Both species possess remarkable healing abilities, yet there's subtle nuances to take into account. Vampires can mend nearly any wound, as long as they have access to a supply of human blood. This resilience stands out as one of their most considerable advantages, enabling them to swiftly recover from injuries that would prove fatal to humans. Werewolves are extremely healing creatures, although strength relates directly to transformation. A full moon would bring their healing to a point where they're almost impenetrable. When not transformed, their healing is stronger, but certainly nowhere near as close to the fact as the healing prowesses of the vampires. The Redditors claim that this is a cyclical nature of werewolf strength and could perhaps be a weakness when placed against the steady strength vampires seem to have on display. Many fans believe that werewolves can only overpower the younger or newer vampires. The werewolves, though powerful, have a very tough competition towards the older or more powerful vampire. While evolved, werewolves have many similarities to vampires. They also have weaknesses of both werewolves and vampires. Their power is focused generally on the packs and territories. This discussion argues that even though werewolves might be relatively incredibly strong in battle, they don't possess the immense influence attributed to all vampires. Conclusion. The originals features all types of supernatural creatures. Werewolves, vampires, witches. The power dynamics in all three species just keeps on changing. We see the witches curse the Crescent Pack, a pack of evolved werewolves twice. The witches put a Crescent's curse on the pack that kept them in the wolf form except for the full moon nights. And it took Haley and Jackson a very long time to take the curse off. Klaus and Elijah are some of the original vampires who are considered to be a little more powerful than the evolved werewolves. However, evolved werewolves are more powerful than new vampires and other werewolves too. The evolved werewolves can even increase their power by more unification ceremonies. So in the question of who is more powerful between the werewolves and the vampires, the answer is just not that simple. It truly depends on the opponent and the fight. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. But otherwise, have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.